Last week, the S&P 500 shot up 2%, thanks to the big tech stocks leading the way. It was the best week we've seen since April. Other than NVIDIA, big tech companies like Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Meta all hit record highs. So what's the story? What moved the market last week, and what should we focus on this week? Tesla's stock surged 38%, wiping out its losses for the year. Should we buy after a pullback? On the other hand, Pelosi bought call options on NVIDIA and Broadcom. Can we follow up this week? TSMC's earnings report is about to come out. Think it's a good idea to buy in before then? Hang tight, and I'll fill you in. Hi traders, I'm JJ. Welcome to US Stock Market Weekly Outlook. If you're new here, be sure to hit subscribe and like, so you don't miss any updates from JJ's channel. On the macros, last Friday, the U.S. Department of Labor reported that non-farm payrolls grew by 206,000 in June, surpassing the expected 190,000. However, this was a sharp decline from the previous 272,000. The unemployment rate ticked up to 4.1%, indicating the labor market is cooling off. In my view, this will likely fuel a heated debate at the Federal Reserve's July meeting about whether to cut rates in September. If the June CPI data released on July 11th is moderate, some of the hawkish members of the Fed, concerned about the softening labor market, might change their stance and support a rate cut in September. In summary, with key economic data like non-farm payrolls supporting rate cut expectations, market sentiment has clearly improved, giving U.S. stocks a solid boost. Technically speaking, based on last week's video analysis, the S&P 500 is still moving up within an ascending channel. After a short period of sideways movement, it's continued its upward trend with not much risk overall. But right now, we need to watch the resistance at the top of the channel. If this week shows a clear weakening in upward momentum, like if it can't break through the channel top and the candlestick bodies get smaller, or even start showing red, we should be cautious about a short-term pullback. Now, let's talk about individual stocks, starting with Tesla. Tesla's stock price has climbed 38% over the past 8 days, wiping out all its losses from earlier this year. On the fundamentals side, there's been a lot of good news. First, Tesla's Q2 vehicle delivery numbers released on Tuesday were way better than Q1, and much better than the most pessimistic forecasts. Also, on July 5th, several state-owned companies in the Lingang area of Shanghai announced they had purchased Model Y cars for corporate use. Looking ahead, Tesla will announce its Q2 earnings after the market closes on July 23rd. The gross profit margin of its vehicles might be a big focus then. Besides the upcoming earnings report, Tesla's major event, Robotaxi Day, early next month could also drive the stock higher. On Tesla's chart, we mentioned in a previous video that it might have bottomed out during the consolidation phase. I personally bought in around that time. So, if you're thinking about buying now, should you wait for a pullback? I think so. The stock has broken through the previous accumulation zone, forming a head and shoulders bottom pattern, and is now in an uptrend. But the recent upward candlesticks are getting shorter, suggesting weakening short-term momentum, possibly leading to a pullback. So, those looking to get in might consider waiting for the short-term pullback to end before buying. Next, let's look at NVIDIA. On the other hand, NVIDIA, the hot global chip giant, has recently faced a sharp sell-off. On July 5th, NVIDIA's stock dipped 2% at the close. According to the latest SEC filings, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang and other executives have been selling shares. At the same time, NVIDIA is facing a regulatory storm in the European market. Technically, the stock is still in an overall uptrend, but the short-term pullback isn't over yet. Comparing it to previous corrections initiated by two big bearish candlesticks, it looks like this pullback might not be over soon. So, those thinking about buying NVIDIA for a short-term trade might want to wait until the pullback finishes. Next, let's talk about Broadcom, which Pelosi recently bought call options on. In the AI chip space, NVIDIA is the clear winner, but Broadcom, AMD, Intel, and Qualcomm are all vying for market share. Comparing NVIDIA and Broadcom, I think Broadcom has a chance to take the lead and become the next hot chip stock. But on the technical chart, we need to be cautious. Broadcom's stock is still in an uptrend, but the previous gap hasn't been filled, and there's heavy resistance at the prior high, indicating significant pressure. So, if you're not in yet, it might be wise to wait for a better entry point. Finally, another stock to watch this week is TSMC, which will report earnings on July 18th. According to supply chain checks, most of TSMC's clients have agreed to higher foundry prices for reliable product supply, which will boost TSMC's gross margins. So this earnings report might exceed expectations. TSMC's stock is also in an overall uptrend, but the price is now at the resistance level of the previous high, which is also a heavy accumulation zone. If breakthrough happens, then there's room for further short-term upside. If not, it might enter a larger pullback phase, similar to the previous one. Alright, if you can learn something from this video, please leave us a like to show your support. I will see you next time.